But I do think, out of those two, Shador or Dart, I think Shador's higher. I think if Dart's the quarterback on the board and you have other players, Derek Harmon, Kenneth Grant, I think it's far likelier you probably end up with the defensive lineman and they just go with one of those mid-round guys. But I think Sanders, if he's at 21, I think I have a hard time seeing them pass on him at 21.
So you think Sanders, if he's at 21, would absolutely be the pick, and you think if Dart is there at 21, it depends on what it looks like elsewhere on the board? Like, let's say there's two of the defensive linemen. Let's say Harmon and Grant are still out there with Jackson Dart. You think they would really question taking a quarterback?
Yeah, I think they would lean more to the defensive line there. I mean, listen, I think they love Kenneth Grant and Derek Harmon, so I can't even write in pencil that they would take Sanders at 21. I think that he would be in play. I think if you gave me my top three guys that I would give you for 21, it would be Grant, Harmon, and Sanders. I think that would be kind of my thought process there. I think if Sanders falls to 21, the Steelers view him as kind of this high floor coach's son. Like, he fits a lot of what they like, right? Coach's son, football pedigree, confidence. Him and Tomlin really vibe well together, I think. He fits Arthur Smith's system really well. Like, he makes a lot of sense. But Kenneth Grant also, it kind of fixes their biggest issue. And Derek Harmon, I think they view very much as kind of the Cam Hayward successor. And so all three of those things they very much value. And so I think that's an interesting discussion. I don't know which way they would lean and between Sanders and those two. I think those are kind of your top three options, 21, to be quite honest with you right now. So we'll see, but I think Shador Sanders, I don't want to say they'd absolutely take him, Donnie. I would say this, I think he's firmly in play. I do. I think Dart is a little more of a long shot, but I think Sanders is firmly in play at 21.
Do you think George Pickens is still a Steeler after next weekend?
What I'm hearing, I think he will be. And listen, I have no reason to doubt that. They haven't called teams about him. I don't think that they are looking to trade him. I think the plan is for him to play this year in Pittsburgh with DK Metcalf. No matter kind of what you think about that, I do think they ultimately are going to try and keep him. We'll see kind of how he reacts to this over the offseason and in a training camp. But I'm fully expecting him to be a Steeler by the end of next weekend.
Based on the conversations that we had earlier this offseason and when it came to the draft, it did seem like Derek Harmon was your guy. Are you still feeling that strongly about him? Like, you personally, you want to see Derek Harmon be a Steeler?
I do. I love Derek Harmon's game. And listen, I think he's got that pass rush juice. I think he's built like an absolute hoss. I think he is a guy that can give you instant pass rush juice. I don't think he's a complete negative as a run defender. I think he's got some work to do there. But this guy's got the ability to play any, one tech to really out the five. He can do a lot of different things. He could be a sub-package monster. To be quite honest, I know a lot of people kind of compared him to Cam Hayward. I actually think he's more like Stephon Tuitt. He kind of reminds me more of Tuitt, but that's something the Steelers have been looking for since Stephon Tuitt retired unexpectedly early in his career. And so I think he'd be an awesome fit for them. He's still, my favorite of the three guys you would talk about between him, Grant, and Nolan. I still love Derek Harmon the most. And I think you can see why. I think he just fits what they do really well. He's that traditional five tech and can easily be a three tech, a penetrating three tech for you in sub package football. And so I think he's a great fit for what they do. The more I go along, though, the less likely I think he actually makes it to 21. And in fact, I think it's potentially that he goes to the Bengals at 17, which I think would be pretty unfortunate for the Steelers, because I do think Derek Harmon's a stud. But if he were there at 21, I think I would take him.
Well, Nick, you'll be happy to know I did a Steelers 7-round mock draft a little bit ago before we had you on, and I have Derek Harmon as the Steelers' first-round pick. So that one at least will get the seal of approval from Nick Farabaugh, it sounds like.
Yeah, it will. Listen, then, if he's on the board, that's the pick I'd make. He's not my favorite overall pick for them, actually. He's my second favorite overall pick for them. My favorite overall pick for them is Jahdae Barron, but I love Harmon at 21. I think he's a perfect fit for what they do up front. So if you're going to take a defensive lineman, that's who I'd take. Grant's not a bad pick either. He's a really good player. So if you're looking at a nose and you want a run defender that can be a three tech eventually, I think Grant makes sense, but I think Harmon's an instant kind of jolt to that defensive line.